online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
All the young dudes.
David Bowie, all the young dudes. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I'm, of course, in Hawaii. Not of course, I don't know why you'd assume anyone was in Hawaii, except for me, people out of Lost, and Dog the Bounty Hunter, all of whom are here. In London, there's Matt Morgan. You right, Matt?
Yes, a bit of a cold.
Yeah, alright, don't lower the mood. I've made it feel like all sort of tiki, Honolulu, upbeat and glamorous, dragging us down, making it feel like a episode of Rising Damp with your curmudgeonly outlook. So, yeah, we've got lots of things to talk about. I've got to clear up a few things from the last few shows. I've been referring to that tubby fella out of Lost as Harvey. He ain't even called that, he's called Hurley. I apologise to him and people that have been sending me these emails and viewers of Lost. Matt, would you like to add to that apology? Because I think you've been calling him the wrong name and all.
Yeah, I've been calling him the wrong name, but I don't think it's the name thing that's really offensive. It's more the fact that you've been calling him Chunky and stuff.
Well, I
that
apologise
chubby
for
lad
all
out
of
of
it.
Lost.
I like him a great big cuddle if I see him on the island. I'll tell you who else is on this island. Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't know that much about him, except he's a... Do you know about Dog the Bounty Hunter?
No, he sounds terrifying.
Well, he is. He got like he's got a bit of ZZ Top sort of look about him, crossed with Mad Max. He's a futuristic sort of bloke. He hunts people down, hands them over to the government.
Hang on, he's a character in Lost, is he?
No, he's just a man living his life here in Honolulu.
Don't lie.
He is, he's out here. If you've got, like, a lot of parking tickets and stuff like that, he'll hunt you down, or if you've got a drug problem. He's
Really?
like, you know, yeah, if you're out on bail and you've sort of break the conditions and terms of your bail, Dog the Bounty Hunter will hunt you down like a dog, actually. I'll hunt you down like a dog. I always thought that the thing getting hunted was like the dog.
It was, yeah, the dog's being hunted. He's an
I'll
idiot.
hunt you like... No, hold on.
I'll hunt you down like a dog that I am.
No, he's right. He's
not.
right, isn't he?
Hunt you down like a dog. Oh, yeah, I thought it was
but...
the
so
dog's
did I,
getting
but
hunted.
Dogs do hunting. No one ever goes hunting for a dog,
When was the last time you
they?
saw a dog hunting?
On the news, hunting with dogs when it all got banned very recently.
Oh,
or when
yeah.
people go out hunting with their hunting dogs, Labradors, Spaniels, breeds of them. We've just realised something. Hunt you down like a dog. You're the dog. I've always thought it was the person, like a whimpering, slobbering dog.
Yeah, like shoot it in the back of the head, like in
Yeah, who
Mice
are
and
you
Men.
hunting? Who are you hunting? What are you going around doing hunts for? What kind of life are you leading? I want to thank the well-wishers and people that have sent me some lovely gifts. Thank you, Marianne, known as Pygmy Metal. We spoke about her last week. She sent me some nice chocolates. They weren't dog chocolate style chocolates, but they were dark chocolates, and I do prefer milk chocolate. If you're thinking of sending me gifts, other gifts I would like are
Don't
I'd
do
like to
that.
have.
Don't
no,
lower
hold
yourself.
on. No, these are just like, I'd like DVDs of The Apprentice and Harry Hill's Television Burke, please. If someone could send them. Could someone send those, please?
I'd like
me?
to thank
'em.
Brandy for sending us loads of Hawaiian goodies to London. Like
Yeah, that's
those
nice. You're
flower
still
things.
supposed to come to Hawaiian. They're called Lays, they are.
Come to Hawaiian.
Come Hawaiian, it's nice here.
Become Hawaiian.
Right, later on in the show, hold on a minute, let's get some momentum
I've
going
got
and
a
then you
cold.
can dismantle it. Yeah, alright, sure, you've got a cold, fair enough. We can't build a show around it, Matthew, you describing and demonstrating your symptoms. Later on, I think we'll call up Courtney Love. I'd like to also thank this lad Josh, who sent me a Kama Sutra. What about that?
Which one though? The video?
Like, no, like an original sort of Kama Sutra thing with, like, you know, like it all looks, all the drawings look all Hindu.
They're useless. You can't use them.
What do you mean you can't use it? You can't
you
have
looked
it
at
off
them?
with the book.
It
Yeah, I've
looks
had a
like-
look at it, mate.
Looks like cartoon characters having it off.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing more natural than Mickey Mouse standing with a proud erection with a tip of fluid. No, listen, they're very lifelike little characters. I wouldn't want to have it
are they?
off with them as individuals, but no, they're like drawings. It's like they're like sort of Hindu etchings, such as you might see in a Hare Krishna temple. Only in this case, they're you know, they're having it off with each other.
Have you
Yeah,
got
they're
any picked up
carrying on.
any new moves from it?
Yeah, I've got a couple of new moves, but, like, you know, I've got to be careful with myself. You know, I ain't been well So, you know, I don't want to do myself a mischief.
No.
I fell over while I was doing some acting the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing a bit of acting, and it was unfortunate actually, because I had to, in this particular scene, I was being quite cool and strutting off to get in the back of a limousine, and like I was wearing these sort of boots that had like hooks on them, like, you know, where you can hook the laces, you interweave the laces in the hooks.
Yeah.
The hooks on one foot caught up with the laces of the other foot, and I was sort of shackled, right? So like I became aware that I was shackled, and then I struggled for a little bit, and I didn't fall immediately, and when I did fall, I fell sort of slowly crumpling, you know, sort of like my knees went, and I was on camera, I was being filmed while it happened, and it's like, when you fall over in a very public situation, you've got to do that, you've got to try and own it, haven't you, a little bit, you've got to try and own the fall, you can't have everyone else guffawing and laughing.
You should do a bow, stand up, do a bow.
Yeah, I did do that. Unfortunately, my laces were still bound, and it led to a second and more elaborate fall. It's reduced me status on the set, but I have been able to incorporate it in a Kama Sutra style sex move. We've got to clear up a few other things. I want to know what's going on in England. I understand that Asda shopping bags have gone see-through. Other supermarkets are available. That's something I want to talk about. I want to talk about that fella, Matt, that BP Lord Brown, who was having it away with a fella he met off a website, and now he's lost his job.
Yeah.
Have you a view on it?
I haven't read that story actually, because I've got a cold. But
that cold can't prevent you from doing everything. For Christ's sake!
I've been laid up. But
let's look at what Stephen Hawking's achieved with his various conditions. You, the first sign of a sneeze, you lose touch, become completely isolated.
Hang on, why has he lost his job about it?
He lost his job because, well, I think he did, like, he tried to, like, the Daily Mail got hold of a story that, the chairman and CEO of BP, British Petroleum, had been having it off with this fella that he met on a gay website. The gay fella that he'd met, I think he called Gay Jeff. I don't know if he always has that prefix. I think he just uses that to make himself more identifiable in this conversation. Gay Jeff went to the Daily Mail, right, to sell the story. Lord Brown tried to suppress the story, and then it went to court, and he goes, look, I don't know, I just met this lad out once while jogging, there's nothing wrong with it, but then it transpired that he did meet him through a gay website, and because of that he perjured himself, so he's got himself in a little bit of a situation. But other than that, he's not really done that much wrong. But I feel that perhaps we should be against him simply because he's chairman of a great big international conglomerate who's probably, in a way, is our natural enemy. We'll probably have to bring him down one day.
He might be alright, might just been out jogging and met someone who worked at BP, and, you know, one thing led to another.
What do you mean? The fella that he was having it away with, Jeff, Gay Jeff, he'd met him off of a gay website.
I know, but you don't know how he got into being part of a conglomerate, you know?
Because his parents were part of a conglomerate, it was all handed down.
How do you know that? Is that true?
I don't know, I think that's just a punt.
I don't think that's how you end up working for BP. Nepotism.
I think it is a bit. I think he went to Eton and Cambridge and that, you know, Silver Spoon and all that sort of business. Listen, let's not get bogged down in it, but I don't know, we'll cultivate, by the end of this show, let's have a well-formed opinion on the situation. Also, we've got to talk about Ghostbusters a little bit, so we need to know more about it, because last week we played the Ghostbusters theme tune, and I recreated quite well, as I understand, the Spectrum version of Ghostbusters.
Quite a little surprise for you then.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to hear it at some stage. I mean, I can only assume that is the Spectrum version of Ghostbusters.
Oh, it could be anything.
Don't try and create a Christmas atmosphere. Well, let's see if you've been a good boy, eh? See what Father Christmas brings you. Okay, why don't we now listen to, what's that thing that I've been going on about for ages? Hughes Corporation, our love is like a ship on the ocean. That Rock the Boat thing. Let's hear that. Okay. Have you got it?
Yep, here it is.
Right, let's listen to that. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. Here, you send us emails and stuff like that because I like it. I've got a lot of emails here that we'll be reading out over the next couple of hours, but for now, let's lose ourselves. Listen to the harmonies. It's the harmonies.
So I'd like to know when rock the boat, rock the boat.
That was the Hughes Corporation, Don't Rock the Boat. I can only assume that's called, although I've never really checked. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I'm here with Matt Morgan. He's ill. You all right, Matthew?
Yeah, just bearing up, you know. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, and Mr. G's there, the poet laureate of the show. We'll be hearing from him later. He'll summarise the show brilliantly. And also Mr. Nibs, who is a sort of manservant, stroke, slave of this regime that we're building has come in. Mr. Nibs, you there? Do you have a microphone?
Is this one on?
Yes.
Oh, you little nerd. Don't ruin the... Is this one on? Is that your contribution? Mr. Nibs has been an affiliate of this show for some weeks now. He rescued a goldfish from Birmingham. That was a little while ago, an early part of his myth and legend. And just as recently as yesterday, Nibs, you had the nerve to call me up from some radio station in Wales, didn't you? What was going on? Will you explain to me, to Matthew and to everyone listening what the hell you're playing at?
Well, what it was, a local station in my area phoned me up and asked me if I wanted to help out.
I know what local means. Local means in your area, Nibs. Don't play mind games. Alright, so a local station in your area as opposed to a local station on Neptune phoned you up and asked your help.
Yeah, and they said I was a bit of a celebrity stalker, and they said...
Are you?
No. What do you think?
Why did they... well, I don't know, let's have some evidence. I just thought you were a sweet-natured and malleable boy. What is the reason they thought you were a celebrity stalker?
I don't know, really.
Well, people don't just make wild assumptions. I mean, I suppose people do. There is such a thing as prejudice. But, I mean, in this case, I'm on the side of this radio station. Now, come on, justify yourself, young man.
I don't know, maybe it's because I go on these TV shows and that to the audience and everything, and they just think I'm a stalker.
And you come up to London, don't you, and stay in a B&B?
Yeah.
And what happens in that little B&B? Where is the B&B? It's in Bloomsbury. How did you get the name Mr. Nibs? Because he's always working away with his pen top. Dirty little devil. Blotter, blotter. Now listen, Nibs, you filthy article. So, okay, tell the listeners what you did the other day.
Yeah, they asked me to get a celebrity on the show, so, I got you on, didn't I? In the morning.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
You phoned me up, Matt, at I don't know, some ungodly hour to talk to a lad called Alan Lake off of, I think it was Coast FM, was it, Mr.
Yeah,
Nibs?
that's right, yeah.
And then, he was alright, he was quite pleasant, it was sort of a wry interview, tried to probe me about my sexual life, of course. I was able to sidestep the situation. Now, Mr. Nibs, what's this other that, before you came into contact with us, you had just fetishised Lee Francis, a.k.a. Avid Merrion of Bow Selector notoriety?
Yeah, I tried to get him on as well, yeah.
Right,
Because,
okay, so, did you phone him before you phoned me?
No, I can't remember, actually.
Listen, why are you stammering? Why are you stammering?
I think you were about fourth, Russell.
Who else had you been through on this list of the damned before finally you reached my name?
I think we got Eugene from Big Brother as well.
Gary Wilmot.
Oh!
Gary Wilmot was first.
Wilmot, Eugene. It's a galaxy of stars.
And we got Pat Sharp as well.
No.
Yeah.
From the Funhouse.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
When he had his hair
Missed-
cut, everyone the nation wept, didn't they?
It was very much when Dylan went electric. I mean, when Sharp cut his hair, I thought, Pat, why have you done this to us? Yeah, okay, so this is perhaps the most bleak news I've received since I found out that the girl that runs my fan site, young Jenny May, also worships Justin Hawkins out of the darkness.
Yeah, I can see that.
Listen, let's not try and make some affiliation between me and Justin Hawkins, who, he's a talented lad, isn't he?
What
But,
about
like,
when you were on the
I don't-
Moyle show? You told me that recently.
What about what? What happened
You
when I
were
was on the Moyle show?
second best guest.
When I went on the Chris Moyle show, they vaulted me and said that I was a great guest. They said I was fantastic, and they hold a sort of a vote at the end to see who's the best guest of all time. They have a league going on, and they phoned later to speak to someone and said, "Oh yeah, Russell did really well. He's the second best guest we've ever had." And obviously, if someone says you're the second best guest, you have to inquire. Who's first? Could I? Was it Richard Pryor? Was it Noam Chomsky? No, it was Patsy Kensit. There's nothing wrong with Patsy Kensit. She's a great woman. She's lovely, isn't she? Talented woman, good mum, all that sort of stuff. What can you say? Now listen, Nibs.
Yeah.
Nibs!
Yeah, hello.
You little jerk. Right, now, what we would like is for listeners to send us just trials, labours, things that we could feasibly get young Mr. Nibs to do. I think you should come over to Hawaii and bring me about a kilo of heroin. How about that for a little challenge? It's Nibs' challenge.
You relapse then over there.
Yeah, I mean, with just doing the acting work now, it's taken a lot of pressure off me. I find I can unwind
Is that
over
why you
daytime.
fell over. He just collapsed into the sand, dribbling.
Turns out I wasn't even wearing shoes or in a film. The whole thing was a beautiful illusion conjured up by China white smoke. No, though. I've not relapsed. I shall never... one day at a time, I won't take drugs again. Dirty business, that was. So, OK, there's a few other things I want to talk about Blighty. Now, I've been looking at newspapers. I get newspapers now. I've managed to sort it out. And I want to know about this. Perhaps this is what caught my eye in the news this week. Matt, can you make up some sort of jingle?
BP millionaires.
BP millionaires and their private lives have caught my eye this week.
I've got nothing to say about them, and I haven't checked that my co-host's heard of it. But here we go, let's press on with it.
Listen, I've got views about this. I feel a bit of human empathy for that Lord Brown, because his private life, that's up to him, and also, you know, it's a bit antiquated having a go at people because they're gay, but also he is like a really rich billionaire chairman of a dubious multinational conglomerate, so I feel a little bit of enmity towards that.
Your torn two ways, aren't they?
My liberal values have been split there, but, you know, in the end, I just went with sort of me ignorance, really. Just despised him on both fronts.
And gay! Oh no!
Help! No, actually, this is a much less taxing story from the Sun newspaper, constant ally of mine. Listen to this. Boob job, yob, jailed! Right, boob job, yob. Already we're interested. There's been a boob job and there's a yob involved.
On a yob?
Tell me more. Huh? The yob didn't get the... You don't get a boob job on a yob, otherwise his yob status is immediately compromised.
Boob job, yob, that's what they'd normally say, a yob with a boob job, wouldn't they?
Yeah, fair enough, but pond boy, if it goes pond boy tragedy, you know that boy drowned in a pond and don't really deserve the name pond boy, because pond boy in reality should have gills or something. Boob job yob is very unlikely to be a yob with a lovely set of knockers sauntering down the high street, flashing his knickers at geezers. Boob job yob, jailed. A thug was jailed for 20 months yesterday for kidnapping his wife to stop, and the Sun has emboldened the word stop here, to stop her having her boobs enlarged. Is he some sort of nufter? So, James McCarthy, 27, told Kerry, don't do it, as he dragged her out of the hospital where she was waiting for the op. He claimed, I like that he dragged her out while telling her don't do it, because really he'd used force by that stage.
In my head,
so
he's dragging her by her boobs. Is that wrong?
Yeah. He shouldn't do that, because that could enlarge the boobs
it will elongate. It might end up like baguettes.
They might end up like sort of womble noses, boobs, and that's the last thing anyone needs. Then there'd have to be a reverse boob op anyway.
Yeah.
Don't do it, he said, dragging her out of the hospital where she was waiting for the op. He claimed he had a knife. I like that. I've got a knife. Just making the claim, not even showing
Maybe
it or anything.
He meant like, I've got a knife. I can do it. Come home.
I can do the boob op. I've got a spoon. I've got some blue tack instead of silicone. We can make them different shapes for different days. It's Wednesday, they're like mashed potato. On Tuesday, they're donuts. And on Wednesday, they're like anvils out of cartoons. What a lovely yob he is. He's a yob artist. Anyway, went to the Old Bailey. It went a bit mad. He was being defended by this Michael Gamolka. He must be some sort of lawyer, he said. He went to talk her out of having the operation. When she refused, he reacted in that way. He reacted.
He reacted in that way.
There he is, reacting. Bless him. Right. Hospital worker Lola Ali told police, he said to her, I like you as you are. I will kill you now. That's brilliant.
And forever you will be like this.
I will trap you in this moment. I don't think he understands the concept of death. Death, your life ends. You will be eternally living that moment. He's got a profound understanding.
Why is he a
of the
yob?
notion.
Who's decided he's actually a yob?
Matthew, it's not gentlemanly to storm into hospital, drag your wife out by her knockers and say you like her as she is, yet you're going to kill her. These are the actions of a yob.
He starts to lose it, but actually, it's quite nice what he did.
He dragged her out. The dragging, that's he oppressed
He liked her as she was. Maybe he couldn't afford the boob job. That's what it's probably about, money.
I don't think so, mate. I think it's actually, this could be a lovely rom-com. Perhaps we should get to work on writing a script about this. I could play the yob. You can play my delicious bride with anvil-shaped boobies. Right? I think he loved her how she was, but then I think it might be about control. That he liked her. You know, he didn't like the idea.
Want other blokes to fancy her.
Yeah, because once she entered the realm of the big knockered, you know, there's a whole lot of new piranhas in the tank. Me, for one.
Yeah,
McCarthy was arrested near London St Bartholomew Hospital. His wife has since left him and decided not to have the op. Oh,
What?
wow. This is a bizarre story. It's an enigma. It's a riddle. I can't begin to comprehend what's going on in that relationship. McCarthy of Canning Town admitted kidnap. The court heard that he's got a bad history towards women. Judge William Clegg QC told him, "You are a bully." There you are. That's what you are. You are. That's what you are.
You're
You're being one now. I've got a hat on.
Get me out of this headlock. You're a bully.
You can take my dinner. You can take the dinner money if you wish, but I'm still a qualified judge. Ah, well, there's that fella then. I know other stuff what's been going on in England, but before we start going on and on about that, let's think about other things we've got to clear up. We said some stuff about prank calls last week. I've had some interesting emails about that. There were some things said about Timmy Mallet last week which were regrettable, and I think we should talk to Timmy Mallet himself. Matt's going to play a lovely version of Ghostbusters. We're going to try and get Courtney Love on the blower. Let's see if she's answered. No, she ain't texted back. I was wanting to talk to Noel Gallagher, but I think that last week, you know, after he said "I love you" to me, and also like. He goes, oh, like, he goes to, I said to him at the end of the call, didn't I? Oh, I'll ring you up off air and we'll have a bit of a chat, right? And he goes, you always say that and you never do. Well, I haven't. So I now feel a bit embarrassed to ring him again a week later. It's just because it's difficult up here in Hawaii, because the time, everything's different. It's bonkers. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to know when to ring someone. Look at us now. We're trying to create the same vibe, but for you it's early morning. For me it's the middle of the night. We're the original odd couple. Yet somehow we make it work, don't we? Crikey.
Don't phone in today. No, maybe just leave a message.
Right.
Which we use in the show, saying, like, you know, I don't want to call you and just use you like this, but blah, blah, blah. Really nice message. Then go, by the way, this was on the radio. And then he might not really notice that bit at the end. Then, you know,
all
next
right, we'll try that.
He did say he loved you. He said he loved you.
He did say. That's nice. We should keep that. Let's use that as a jingle.
Yeah.
I know, well, that's what happens when a woman says they love you, or Noel Gallagher, in my experience. Once I say I love you, something sort of dies inside you and you have to just keep moving on. I like you as you are, I will kill you, don't you dare grow your boobies. Okay, hey, why don't we have a quick listen to, what are we going to listen to now, Raconteurs?
No, Rock This Town.
Rock This Town, Daniel Johnston?
Yeah.
Let's listen to him then, he will rock this town. That is Daniel Johnston, Rock This Town. We can't leave him. Go on saying that for hours if you leave him. That song's actually, he just recorded that until his last dying breath. You listen to Russell Brand on Radio 2. If you want to send us an email, do. russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. I've got email here. It's from this lad called Ryan. Hey, Russell, how was stroke is Hawaii? That's good, because Ryan is already appreciating the idea that life changes and is transient. I might be thinking, oh yeah, it's really brilliant now. I'm in love with Mikey, the surf instructor. Now I'm sick of it. For example, I've fallen over on the set. We're all missing you in the UK. If you fancy some company of the male sex in Hawaii, other than your surf instructor, then feel free to get me a trip sorted out and I will be there within 48 hours. Whether this trip works out or not, we're looking forward to having you back here. The country isn't the same without you, and I want your podcast to get back to #1. Ryan is offering to come back here to see me here. And, you know, part of me thinks, why not? Why not get Ryan over? Particularly if you, Matt, aren't going to bother visiting.
Well, I might do, but I think, you know, it's been a really good experience for you out there on your own, falling in love with... So, are you still in love with Mikey, to change the subject?
I ain't seen him for a little while. Listen, you will come over here, young fella, my lad. I'm going to start administrating it.
How long is it going to take till you're back here?
I think I don't come back to about June the 17th or something berserk.
Really?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Right, so listen to this. Then Ryan continues. P.S. I saw Duncan Bannatyne, who we've had on the show a few times, playing snooker today. He is rubbish. I also went to the corner shop today and the shop master was stoned. Why do they do that?
Shop master?
What a shop master? Who's a shop master? How's a person ever going to earn the status of being a shop master? That's a shopkeeper. Why does he think that? Why is Ryan operating under these linguistic terms? Shop assistant, shopkeeper.
You can't ever presume that the person in the shop owns it or keeps it these days, can you?
Of course not. And master, that's just an outdated, outmoded piece of language. But thank you, Ryan, and I cannot fund your trip to Hawaii, although part of me, just the experimental part of me, the part of me who thinks just say yes to life, be positive, see what happens, does think, yeah, what'll happen if Ryan turns up? I mean, do you know what's happening? Over tonight and over the weekend, 600 American GIs are staying at the hotel complex, Turtle Bay, where I am. There's going to be 600 American GIs.
600 little crushes for you, isn't it?
Look at all these everyone an action man.
Got any gun chums?
Yeah, I'm drawing a line up the back of my legs for you. Throw us some candy bars. Listen, so yes, that's going to be that's going to be unusual for me to have to live with these GIs.
Show me your big bother boots. I'll love it, Russ.
Oh,
I've got boots like yours. How'd you drive a tank? Tell us.
I should put on my swimming trunks and my bother boots and skip up to us. Oh, boys! Here, give Saddam one in the nuts for me. Oh, I don't know, is it Saddam anymore? The Ayatollah, whoever it is, I'm with you guys. Give us a cuddle. Ah, you pinched me. There's another email here.
Why don't you do some of your political comedy that you've developed to them?
I will do. I'm sure them guys are going to love the new and improved, socially conscious Russell Brand.
So, what about this BP guy?
I hear he's some sort of gaylord or something. Okay. Yeah, no, I won't be doing it. I don't think they'd appreciate it. I don't know. I don't know what they're into, these fellas, but I'll get to know. I spoke to some American GI lad, actually, the other day, a young black lad. He said he don't like it in the army. I goes, why? He goes, they're always telling me what to do.
What do you think he was getting into?
I know, I think he's just misunderstood. But I think perhaps what it is the adverts for the army make it look a bit like you're going to be in a computer game. Do you know what I mean? It's like the ones in England. You think, oh, this looks alright. It's like a computer game. Be the best, yeah. Oh, nice. Those shoes look alright. I mean, that's why I got those shoes, actually. But I knew that there would be some bossiness involved in a military lifestyle. I thought they're not going to just say, oh, basically, do what you do, carry on with your thing. There is a war going on in Iraq. If you want to join in, that's up to you. I don't want to rush anybody. You know, they're going to have to necessarily have some authority.
I bet you used to like that advert where you took your sunglasses off.
I love it. I love that. I use that technique all the time. The one where you go, yeah, it's like, oh, army, we're in the army. In the army, you need certain skills.
What would you do first?
Yeah, would you go? Yeah, check your rifle, grab him by his nuts. It's him out in Africa, isn't it? Talking to sort of like a African sort of rebel guerrilla type person is the vibe you get, or is it just like some villager or something? I can't really remember the details.
Down. He's going shouting or something.
Yeah, like talking in a foreign tongue, and the army bloke's wearing sunglasses. Then he takes the sunglasses off, and immediately the bloke goes, "Oh, hello, darling. Oh, give us a cuddle. Oh, sorry, I was talking to you in my native tongue. Now you took your sunglasses off, I realise this is a situation for a sexy Nicholas hug." I don't know. Yeah, but I do use that technique, don't you? Don't you sort of like, if you're wearing sunglasses and you're talking to someone, you think, I think it's time for me to make a little bit of an influence now. Pull your sunglasses down.
That's just politeness, though, isn't it? You can't just address someone behind great big shades unless you're Elvis.
Of course you can't. No, if you're Elvis, it's different. But if you want to make a super impact, take the sunglasses all the way off, take your trousers and pants down, and put the sunglasses over your winky and balls to make a humorous face with the glasses there. You'll find immediately you're making a brand new range of friends. So, here's an email. Hi, Russ, and Matt says, Sian or Sean, maybe. S-I-A-N, Sean. S-I-A-N, Sean.
How have you not found that name in your travels so far?
Because I just never need things written down, do I? People will tell you stuff. Cian, XXX. Oh no, those are kisses. Hi, Russ and Matt. Last week you were talking about Ghostbusters and were wondering who or what Slimer was supposed to be the ghost of. Slimer is a caricature and tribute to the late John Belushi, who was originally intended to play the role of Peter Venkman until his death. life, which led him being replaced by his longtime chum Bill Murray from Sean XXX. So there we are. That's why, because we were talking about Ghostbusters last week. We always thought the ghost Slimer.
Yeah.
What is that ghost? If it's a Ghostbuster, what was it in life? In life, it can't have been that, can it? Because otherwise, it wouldn't matter whether it was a ghost or not. The fact is, it's an amorphous green slime thing that's not recognisable. But apparently, it was John Belushi's ghost, which is a bit out of order, actually. That being John Belushi's ghost, that'd be a bit hurtful, wouldn't it, to the relatives he left behind?
Do you want to hear the piece of music Travis has sent us? Should take you back.
Right, okay, so last week while we were discussing Ghostbusters, we discussed, like, on Spectrum computers, and probably all old home computers, if you played the Ghostbusters game, it did a version of the Ray Parker Jr. track Ghostbusters, but it was just like sort of a kind of odd, simplistic version of it. And I believe Travis, who is Travis?
He is from Southern
Just
California.
Travis from California has sent us, he's got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is. Have we got to credit it, or do we just go? This is that thing. So that this lad
This might not be.
Travis.
I want your opinion on it if it's the one you remember.
Oh, you want my opinion, do you? Okay. Yeah, right. Oh, let's see then. Let's do your Ghostbuster item then, Matt.
Right, I'm not going to press the button anymore.
Go on, press the button, you twerp. Don't be childish. Well, I don't like that.
Oh God.
It's too complicated.
Oh, is it?
Already,
we've
mine
got another one.
Mine was less evolved than this version already. I like it. I'll be able to tell when it gets to the chorus bit. No, that is it. This bit.
Neighbourhood.
Who can you call? That bit's confusing. In your bed. Who can you call? It's the Ghostbusters, of course. Those Ghostbusters, those bloody Ghostbusters. Get them round, they'll get the ghost. Get the Ghostbusters, they'll get the ghost. Ghostbusters! It can't cope with this frantic bit. Ghostbusters! It's actually John Belushi's corpse! Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know. I mean, I could listen to this forever. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's, yeah.
Do you want to hear an even worse one?
Yeah, let's really drag this out. Let's see what else, where can you go from there without it? That's not recognisable as anything.
Right.
Oh yeah, this is it. Yeah, I like this.
Is this it? You've said everything's it.
That's it there. I like it. Because it feels like it's being played by a mouse on a little organ. A little mouse with a cigarette. Oh.
Oh, God.
Have you got any requests?
Oh, that's awful. Enough?
That's the sound of childhood there, right there, nice. Why don't we give it to Tim Westwood, see if he can mix it with Tupac or something, you know, he seems to like doing things like that. Why, only a few weeks ago he mixed Thomas the Tank Engine and Fiddy, didn't he? So perhaps that's the sort of thing he'd be into. Perhaps we could do with that. So I've got some more emails here. This one is about prank calls. We talked briefly last week about doing prank calls and troubling operators and fire engines and whatnot. Darren goes, "Aloha Russell," realising that I'm in Hawaii. Was listening to your latest podcast, which should be #1 and technically is because it's the top audio one. Darren's words there. Anyways, you were talking about prank calls you made when you were little, and it made me remember a prank call I made when I was about 6 years old. I used to always hide in the wardrobe with a cordless phone and prank call emergency services. One night I was feeling cocky, and I think he means that as an adjective, not a noun. And when
that was his friend.
I was feeling cocky. Cocky. I think cocky is his nickname for his own genitals. No, I was feeling cocky, and I thought these prank calls are a waste of time. It never leads to anything. There's a cockerel outside my hotel room. A cockerel, I tell you. No, honestly.
You don't know about animals. It's probably a chicken.
It is a bloody cockerel, mate.
What, wakes you up in the morning?
Yeah, it goes cock-a-doodle-oo. It probably says that, and like it sort of taps on the window. I don't know if you know. It's dawn. Cock-a-doodle-oo. If you want to get up, it's up to you. I don't want to put any pressure on you, of course.
Not cock-a-doodle-oo.
They're going to bicker and argue.
Nothing's different over there.
This is with a Hawaiian accent, no. It's a little Hawaiian cockerel. We don't have to play by your rules. He's a free spirit, and he comes out. He's got the whole of the hotel. He can go wherever he likes. He always chooses to be outside my room. Why is he doing that?
The owners of the hotel, who by now are annoyed at you for asking for papers all the time, probably wired his foot to the ground near your room. If they've got any sense.
He struts about and all like he's pleased with himself, this cockerel, real full of himself, and it's made me realise that the word cocky comes from that.
Obviously it
from his
annoys you when you
attitude.
recognise your own traits in those of an animal. He struts around the place.
Wearing eyeliner, bellowing for a self-consumed little bird, having it off with chickens, which I've never done. Anyway, this lad continues.
Too small.
What do you mean? Well, we all remember Animal Farm, of course, the pornography we should never have been exposed to at school, but were, and I think we all remember.
It wasn't part of the curriculum.
It was at my school. We're all sat down in the first year, actually, and said, right, this is Animal Farm, and this is as far as we're prepared to go with you with regards to birds and the bees. The bird, in this case, is a chicken, and the man is a postman. Very odd. I don't think he was really a postman.
I think a lot of people have, haven't they?
We all saw it. I mean, of course, you and I did live in neighbouring counties of Essex and Kent.
Maybe we saw the very same tape.
Possibly, because I noticed when I got it, mine, it seemed like it was tarnished somehow. One night I was feeling... Anyway, let's go back to this email from young Darren talking about prank phone calls he used to do. One night I was feeling cocky. He's been doing prank calls for a while, we know at this stage, and I went the extra mile. I told them my school was on fire and they should get there quick. What I didn't anticipate was the barrage of questions they would ask me, and in my panic I told the truth and gave them my real name and real address. That's stupid, isn't it?
An idiot.
Never in a prank phone call. Don't do a prank phone call anyway. But if you do one, don't give them your real name and address, because that's no longer a prank phone call. That's just an admission of your own idiocy down a phone. About half an hour later, I was being bathed by my dad. This guy's living a crazy life. And then there was a knock at the door. I knew it was something to do with the phone call and immediately began to cry, begging my dad not to answer the door. It was the fireman. Well, he says fireman singular, but then he goes into the plural, so it must be firemen. They told me off, which was humiliating. I was stood there with just a towel around me, crying in front of 10 big men. It's affected him, because the way he remembers his men, he's sexualised it a bit.
Yeah,
and 20 minutes after... Well, I don't know, but just maybe it's after you've seen films like The Full Monty.
And they felt cocky, all of them, one after the other.
Till in the end, Cocky wept. Now,
Russell.
Listen, in that world of metaphor and innuendo, is it possible to tell what any of us mean anymore? Is it right to point the finger? Is it? And the answer is yes, if necessary. 20 minutes after the 10 big firemen had been round, the police came round to tell him off as well, and they had a recording of his phone call. My parents were deeply embarrassed and very annoyed, and I remember feeling very ashamed and vowing never to do it again. I only did it once again after that, and I used a phone box and a fake name. Darren, he learned nothing. I haven't learned a thing. Well done, Darren. You are wasting everybody's time. That's good, isn't it? Well done, Darren, for that contribution to our show. Don't waste people's time in that way. If you are going to do prank phone calls, what I'd recommend is often on products, like, say, for example, Volvic water, right, or Evian water, other waters are available, simply the water in your own tap, if you're not going to get all caught up in branding, right? On the side of them bottles, it says consumer inquiries 0800 whatever, and it has a number. If you're going to waste some time, waste their time, because what could you possibly want from ringing up the number on the side of a Twix or like Andrex toilet paper? There's always a consumer number. What could be a legitimate inquiry? What would you say?
I did a prank phone call once when I was a kid.
Go on.
I found out
Tell us about it.
In a local paper, you know, when people selling things.
Yeah.
And they have to put their own number. There was a bloke selling a flying jacket, and so we phoned him up. And
said, you saw an opportunity, did you? There.
I was only about 11. I said, how does your jacket fly? Do you put it on, dream of where you want to go? And he was going, stop phoning me. And in the end, he blew a whistle down the phone. Yeah, which I thought was, it's quite effective.
What do you mean quite effective? It hurt you?
Yeah.
Did you learn your lesson from that? I think you might be part dog, to tell you the truth, if you're affected by that.
No, yeah, it made me think, because he let the phone ring for ages and ages, then he answered him. You can hear him like really fussing to get his whistle. I know, he's bad. I feel bad
where's my bloody whistle? Where's my whistle?
Give us such a blow. Here we go!
And now for a mighty puff of air, and finally the shrill blast of the whistle that'll let this flying jacket prankster know who's boss.
I should have said, is that a magic whistle, when it went quiet again? But no.
But by then, I suppose it had worked. It had disrupted your senses a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't do prank calls.
Don't do it. It's horrible.
Don't do it on real people. Do it on them 0800 numbers if you want to. Then tell us the results. We might do some. We could probably do some. I could do them here, couldn't I? Because it wouldn't be subject to British broadcasting laws, and we'd get away with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't we? Well, let's see if we can find any numbers. We've got Jesse here. He's the engineer who is working with us here in Honolulu.
Russell, why don't you phone your own hotel?
Phone my own hotel? Yeah, because it's not subject. And say,
I'm a fan of Russell's. I just want to know, is he an annoying sort of person? Has he made any demands?
Yeah, is he a sexy kind of guy? Yeah, I can ask all sorts of questions about me. But hold on, what if they say something hurtful?
Yeah,
they won't.
They won't.
Nah, there won't be no home
phone
troops.
up and complain about the cockerel.
I will phone about that bloody cockerel. All right, then, we'll do that in a minute. Right, later on, I'll be phoning my own hotel and bothering them. We'll try and have a chat with Courtney Love. We might ring Noel Gallagher's phone. We don't know how we feel yet. We'll work it out. You send us your emails because it helps our show. russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Matthew, is it your turn to pick a record?
No, it's your final choice.
What am I having?
Hands by Raconteurs.
Let's have that on then. It's Hands, Raconteurs, Russell Brand, Radio 2. That was the Raconteurs' Hands. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. And what a show it's been so far and shall continue to be. We're going to do some skylarking around in a minute, troubling people, because we just found out that because I'm in America, I can ring up American people. It's not subject to British broadcasting laws. At least that's the stupid assumption we're going to march ahead with. We don't know that for a fact, but except I remember when we listened to Chris Morris stuff, Matt. He used to ring up people in America, didn't he?
Yeah,
so maybe that.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps that was the old days.
Maybe he did that because he knew that they'd never find out who he was and be able to complain.
Yeah, well, they won't find out who I am because I'm like a shadow man.
You're going to be like Darren. You'll go, Russell Brand, tell me, hotel.
Oh, crikey, what have I done? Get rid of that cockerel. If you don't get rid of that cockerel, I don't know what I'll do. Then I'll sort of blow off and cry, and simultaneously things will go terribly wrong. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if we should take the risk. Okay, we're going to have a little thing that I like to call newsy poos in a moment with Andrew Simmons, who we've made amends with, so let's not tarnish that relationship any further. She's a damn fine broadcaster. After that, we might have a chat with Noel Gallagher, although I feel guilty that I've not called him in the interim week since he told me that he loved me. We'll try and ring Courtney. Hold on, I sent her a text message. No, she ain't responded to that. It's starting to be achingly apparent that I don't really know anybody except Matt Morgan and a few kind people who send emails into this show, and I bless you from the bottom of my little granite heart. But now, why don't we have a little bit of news? We'll come back, we'll have some balmy bonkers times. We'll do some crazy phone calls, through all sorts of people. And, yeah, I've got some more English news I want to talk about. And what's that other thing we're going to do? Mr. G's going to do some stuff. And I've got some lovely emails here. Okay, but for now, though, 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC.
And here's the news now at 10 o'clock. This is Andrea Simmons.
Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
He's a 20th century boy.
That was Blur. Tomorrow, before that, it was the news. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I'm here with Matt Morgan. Matthew, how are you feeling today?
I'm top of the world.
Oh dear, you sound quite wretched. I understand in England there's a lot of rhubarb going on. I saw this in the Sun as well, because I get sent the Sun and Guardian. It was very difficult to get my hands on English news, and I'm kind of a bit like, I'm into our culture, so like I'd need newspapers and stuff, and I went to a lot of silly bother to get older papers, and now, right, I've got my hands on the Sun. I find out that the country's gone barmy, right? There's this story, fired for working too hard. Dick had 7-year erection. Salesman Richard Carter fears he's facing the sack after struggling with a 7-year erection. I don't know if that means he struggled with it, as in he tried to wrestle it like an alligator, or that means that it was just the problem innately. And also, I bet he doesn't call himself Dick, but the Sun have decided we'll call him Dick for the purposes of this story. Do you reckon that's a fair assumption?
I think that's a pretty good assumption there.
Yeah, I think so too. Richard, 34, developed the rare condition priapism. Isn't that a nice word, priapism? Why are you just murmuring like that, as if you're an old lady?
I was thinking about it.
I think what you've got...
It's a nice word, but if you add it, then priapism you wouldn't think, well, it sounds a bit like prison, it's nice. Would you?
Nice,
You'd have an
prison.
aching willy.
I think, right, you are sat with a mug of, like, some sort of milky drink or chicken soup or bachelor's soup, like, holding the mug, our girls hold it with both their hands, sort of round it, all hunched up with a blanket over yourself, all feminised, are you?
Yeah, I've got a little picnic blanket all over my legs.
You sound like a shipwreck of a man. Priapism.
Do you know
anyway,
what? It's like 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm ill,
Yeah.
and that's why, but I think I'm putting a pretty brave face on it.
You really are. You're quite a soldier. I don't have any medals on me, unfortunately. Otherwise, you would be rewarded.
Come on then, carry on with your out-of-date newspaper.
It's not out of date, mate.
That's
this
our
is
chip
off the
paper,
press.
mate, what you're reading out, thinking you're...
I've been
Charlie
joined
Big
now
Potatoes.
as well. Listen, well, if I could just interrupt you for a moment. I'm being joined in the studio by this fella, Glenn. He's the stills photographer of this film I'm doing. That's why I'm in Hawaii, to make a film. It's not a holiday. No, you like to undermine my achievements. I'm over here trying to build a future for us and any children we might have in the future. As the moment science advances to the point where a baby can be grown in a bowel, and yes, it will be your bowel,
Why
Matthew
mine?
Morgan. I'm not going through childbirth, baby.
Hang on, I suppose-
have enough trouble with a whoopsie.
Both options are pretty revolting for me.
There's no real winner in this bowel
If I
baby
could work out how to grow it
scenario.
in a wheelbarrow, I might be involved, but...
I like it. I like just the bit where we're mixing up our sperm with a lolly stick. That'll be a glorious day for science. Why
it.
not? Did that unsettle you as an
bit, yeah.
image?
Yeah.
Well, it was on the road to creating a golden child. Anyway, Glenn, the stills photographer off this film I'm here doing, he's turned up here now. Hello, Glenn, are you alright? Is that microphone live? Jesse's wandered off. Do you know Jesse, the engineer? We've got an email here, right? Jesse's wandered off. He's, I think he's some sort of drug addict, to tell you the truth. No, like, probably not hard drugs, just mild drugs. But I've got an email here. Where is that? Yeah. I listened to your... This is from a young lady called Jade. She goes, I listened to your Radio 2 show. He's wandered in here now, Jesse has. Look at him, all bleary-eyed and baffled. Jesse, could you turn on that microphone so we could talk to Glenn the Stills photographer? Is it on now? Yeah, right, Jesse. Also, Jesse, while you're here, we received an email about you, as a matter of fact. It says, here's the email. It's from a young lady called Jade. I listened to your Radio 2 show in Hawaii. It was funny. I love you and Matt's banter. During that show, if you remember, you mentioned a background person. That's what you've been dubbed, Jesse. A background person. So don't get out of your pram. A background person called Jesse, who you believed looked like he smoked a lot of cannabis. That's just my belief. This is not necessarily true of Jesse. We're in his place of work. We can't judge him, but yes, he does. He looks a bit like he smokes a lot of cannabis. He also looks a bit like Otto, the bus driver from the Simpsons cartoons. Later on, I looked at the photos, says Jade, of you in Hawaii, and I see that you had a picture of Jesse, and I know him. How lovely and small worldy-ish it is. Mainly for me, I'll admit. Just thought I should tell you. Tell him I said hi, because I don't have his email. Tell him it's Jade, who volunteered with him in Peru last year. Were you in Peru last year? Jesse is denying it, silently denying it, possibly because he smoked so much marijuana he doesn't even recognise this as the English language now. He's just greedily devouring chocolate bars in the studio. Jesse, have you ever been... do you not want to come and confront these demons, Jesse? Have you been to Peru?
Negative.
Jesse is withdrawing from the situation, I believe, in a haze. Well, Jade from Peru, Jesse, believes that she's carrying your baby. She says, I met him in Peru. He seems to have grown his hair. Oh, and his face has changed dramatically, so I might be wrong. His nose looks more different. If it's not him, I apologise, but I am now pregnant. Keep up your good work, pushing the boundaries, exploring sexual taboos, and not advocating materialism, you sexy, well-moralled icon. I think that's me, not you, Jesse, who she believes to be an amoral gentleman. Vive la revolution, Jade. So, yeah, thank you very much, Jade. Jesse denies all contact with you, yeah? Right. Categorically, and he is only communicating in sign language now, I think, out of shame. I do apologise, Jesse. Remember, this isn't broadcast in Hawaii, so you won't lose your... it can't affect your employment position.
I'm trying to build an empire, though.
He's trying to build some sort of evil empire. Also, join us, Glenn, the stills photographer from this film. All right, yes. Glenn?
Yes, yes.
Glenn, I won't do any character assassination on you, because the one I've done on Jesse it's gone down badly. And Shannon is also here. Shannon is working on this film on the production side of things. But I believe you also do a part in a soap opera called Bold and Beautiful, don't you? She's denying it. The people in the studio in Hawaii, they're like car crash victims. They're just sat nervously shivering, a lot of them. Matt Morgan, you're there drinking your cup of soup in London with a blanket over your knees. You're a shipwreck of a gentleman. No one in here. Jesse's now looks like he's frantically trying to phone a lawyer and sort out some of these accusations. Jesse, I'm sure it's okay. You won't have to bring up this poor Peruvian bastard that you've spawned. I'm sure it's all going to work out fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm not going to attack anyone else here in the studio, because they only have my word for it that this is even a radio show, to tell you the truth. Glenn, you seem okay?
Everything's good right here.
Glenn, okay, Glenn is the stills photographer for the film. Glenn, talking to this microphone a little more. Glenn, I know you're a married gentleman, but did you originally get into the world of photography as an opportunity to meet women?
You know, one can't deny relatively quickly that these opportunities, as you've alluded to, do arise. And how does one?
It gives you opportunities to pull women, because I suppose that they've got the camera and they've got pose and stuff for you.
Precisely.
Right, it gives you a certain degree of power.
Everyone has their ideal expression, shall we say?
Yeah, they do.
Like to have recorded.
Will you do some photographs of me during this film, Glenn?
I'll be doing many photographs of you, as a matter of fact.
Don't regard that as a sexual come-on. that was just a friendly conversation. I know it led directly from...
I've seen your moves very recently, and it's hard for me to determine whether or not that might have been a sexual come-on, so I'm gonna...
Let me assure you it was. And just wait for the second you've got a camera in your hands, I'm going to unleash a sort of sexual, charismatic hell on you. But we're just going through some English news now, so bear with us. Okay, so we're talking... Matthew, are you all right, dear?
Yes, I'm just worried about everyone there sounds a little bit stoned.
No, I don't know, in Hawaii they've got a very relaxed attitude. As you know, most people just sort of go around grass skirts, coconut bras, surfing and that. There is a big crystal meth problem on the island, but most people, when they do crystal meths, are quite upbeat. So, you know, in this case, I think it is more homegrown drugs that are the problem. So we're talking about this poor fella, Richard, or Dick, who's been fired for working too hard. And I think, personally, he's only been called Dick for the purpose of this article, because he's had an attack of priapism. He got priapism after taking panic medication. It left his manhood almost constantly stiff. I like that they've used the word stiff as well, because that takes me back to the glory days of childhood when it would have simply been a stiffy. And he needed 8 hospital... yeah, you still do say stiffy, but you wouldn't say stiffy in an erotic situation, would you, Matthew?
No, no.
You wouldn't say...
If it happens on a bus or something, then it's a stiffy.
Right, if it happens on a bus, it's a stiffy. If it happens in a sexual situation, it becomes what? Manhood, erection. You wouldn't say...
arousal.
Well, hold on. Like, I don't think your dirty talk is up to much if you're saying, oh, I've got an arousal, darling. Shall we retire to our quarters? But I suppose that is a bit better than saying, oh, I've got a stiffy.
I was on the bus and I got a stiffy.
was on the bus, I got stiffy. I had a cuddle with the bus conductor and he cuddled me too hard. Listen, it left his man, this is Richard, who's 34, for the purposes of this article, he's been called Dick. There is a man who works on our production, actually, Shannon and Glenn would be able to confirm this if they weren't both so high. Called, right, his name's Richard Vane, right, and he's converted his name to Dick Vane, and he insists on being called Dick as well.
Dick Vane?
Yeah, and the thing is as well, that he don't mind making jokes about his name being called Dick, like he'll maybe go, oh, you know, I'm probably living up to my name there, being a bit of a dick, right? But then he'll never include the Vane bit in that joke, which, you know, you've got to acknowledge the Vane bit.
But hang on, Dick Vane, to me, makes me think of a vein on the side of a penis.
That's what it makes everyone in the world think of.
Oh, right, I thought you were saying vein as in, like, he's combing his hair in a mirror.
No, not narcissistic dick. You think of it in a vascular sense. If it's been preceded by the word dick, you're not going to think, oh, and on top of that, he's really proud of himself, ain't he? You are going to think of... Yeah, but how's he ever going
to say, I am living up to my name there, being a blue vein on the side of a dick? How's he going to say that?
I'm just saying that he doesn't, like, he's happy to make jokes about the dick part, but he's not also acknowledging that his comprised complete name is also an innuendo-laden handle, no?
That's a hilarious name, isn't it?
Yeah, name. But actually he's quite powerful in this film, and I should probably just shut up about it. He's an executive producer, I think. Richard, 34, developed the rare condition, priapism, after taking panic attack medication. He's left his manhood almost constantly stiff. He's needed 8 hospital operations to reduce it. That's gotta be unsettling to keep having, like, after maybe the 4th operation on my penis, I'd say, well, I'll just have it like this. I'll just
because it starts to ache. It must be hellish.
Do you know? Do you belong to a fellowship for people with this condition? You seem to have a lot of inside information, Matthew.
I've read about it. It's very painful.
Why have you read about it?
Because...
Fair enough. Richard's bulge also left him in agony. Bulge, because I have to think of constant different ways of calling it things. Richard's bulge also left him in agony as he drove vans. Keeps driving these vans, selling fire extinguishers for chubs. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? That is for chubs. And what's that in your trousers? I don't want to talk about it. He was forced to take so much time off that bosses have told him they may need to reassess whether he can still work for them as an on-the-road salesman. Richard from Coventry claims he's been threatened with redundancy and offered a payoff. He said, some may think it's good to have an erection for that long. Yeah. But I was in terrible discomfort and pain. I had to wear knee-length coats in summer to hide it. Oh no.
What a
Wandering
boaster.
round.
Hang on, why is it pointing downwards?
That's true. He should just wear coats that have a broad perimeter, shouldn't he? Like sort of a whalebone petticoat is what he actually needs. He's ridiculous. He just don't know how to tackle this condition. People thought it was a joke, he said. Well, yeah, sorry, Richard. The condition has now improved, and Richard, who won a 2003 Bravery Award for using his extinguishers on a blazing car. I hope that means his chub extinguishers, and he wasn't taking advantage of his erection to save people in a burning vehicle. Says he has a normal sex life with his fiancée, Louise Lavelle. Do you think that it can be normal?
He could be a superhero. He could... Why can't he start to use it? He's saved lives already with it.
He's already saved some lives. I think, yeah, Richard needs to embrace this erection.
Get people down out of buildings.
Of course he can. He can assail villains, say like someone's running out of a bank with a bag of swag. He can crouch, trip them up on the curb. He could interrogate people. He could prod people in the solar plexus with it. Richard, open your mind real wide now and see your constantly hard penis as some sort of gift from God. Stop going on about it.
If he hung a coat off it and put a beret on top, he could play good cop, bad cop sort of thing with it.
That could be his psychic. Listen, I'm telling you, I believe you, mate. I think you're fine. I don't think you nicked the money. Yeah. But here you go. Listen, you bastard!
Just waggle it a bit so it looks like he's getting agitated. It just doesn't add up!
Okay, listen, you better tell him the truth. Oh my God, I think he's going to spit at me. Right, we found the line. We found the line. Chubb said last night they might find Richard an alternative job. A spokesman said, we sympathise with him. His position is under review. What is his position? Walking about all crouched. Poor old Richard. Okay, Matthew, are you going to pick a song, or are we going to end up listening to Jolene by Dolly Parton?
No, I've got the specials. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Let's listen to the specials. You listen to Russell Brand on Radio 2. Send us emails at russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. We're going to probably ring Noel Gallagher in a bit. We might ring Courtney Love. We don't know what we do. I might use my lack of knowledge of American broadcasting laws to trouble American corporations. Stay with us for the next hour. There's going to be some lovely music. Is there, Matt?
Yes.
Right then. Okay then. What are we going to listen to now again?
Oh, God. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think about the specials.
All right. Put it on then. That was the specials. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You listen to Russell Brand on Radio 2. I'm in Hawaii now, and Matt Morgan is there in London. You're right, Mafu?
Yes, I've got some important news for you.
What is it?
Your fame.
Go on. Yeah, that is the most important thing we can ever discuss. Please, tell me about it now.
I'm going to play you a small sample from
crikey.
EastEnders. Ready?
A sample from EastEnders?
Yep.
The hit soap opera EastEnders?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
come on. Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Which one do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know, you choose. They must be here somewhere.
What?
My car keys. Oh, this is all I need. I'm going to be late.
Will you just calm down? You've got ages. Here. You want to look your best for the bank, because they ain't going to give you your job back if you turn up looking like Russell Brand.
Right, that's an attack on me. That used me in a pejorative way. Turn up looking like Russell Brand, GQ Most Stylish Man of the Year last year. You know, I think that's derogatory. What happened there on EastEnders? Right, let's compose a letter. I've got an email. Not famous in Hawaii. This is Georgina Pearson from Canning Town, London. I love you, Matt, she says. But then she goes on, not famous in Hawaii, tropical paradise getting you down. We just got mentioned in EastEnders, baby. Dawn says you ain't going to get your job back if you turn up looking like Russell Brand. So that was Dawn speaking then, was it, that we just heard?
Yeah, but she is saying in a bank, right? So you couldn't work in a bank and look like you, could
If you look all sexy and wild, you know, it'll unsettle the people in the bank. And also, your very dress is a statement against authority and the corporate structure that banks are emblematic of. Yes, you're right.
Yes, so
and I think that's what the plot of EastEnders was trying to analyse in some way.
It's a Dior waistcoat. It's not a petrol bomb.
In a way, Matthew, a Dior waistcoat is a real
This is
kick in the
showing it
nuts.
to the man. This waistcoat that cost me over £1,000.
I think the New World Order will be brought down by my new skull bracelets that
That's
I've
why
started
you
wearing.
couldn't work in a bank dress like that because people would wonder what you were doing with the money. Hang on, this
He's
man.
for the lot.
He's dressed up.
He's got 50 grand worth of jewellery on, for heaven's sake, and at least £100 worth of hairspray. Well, that's nice. I'm glad that I'm existing in EastEnders, the soap opera, even if it is in a pejorative and negative way. What's Mr. Nibs doing, Matthew?
He's sitting there just filling in his little book with words that he's cut out of the newspaper. I'm gonna get you. I've watched you for months. I don't know who it's to. I think it's to some Big Brother contestant that he's developed a crush on.
Mr. Nibs, as it transpires, it does appear to be a dangerous threat to society. Mr. Nibs, is he on mic?
Yes.
Or is he too busy compiling his book? Mr. Nibs?
Hello.
What did people say after I was on that local radio show that you troubled me from the other day?
What did who say? What, the listeners or the people who work on the show?
Listen, anybody. I'm desperate for any kind of notoriety, discussion, anything at all.
Well, we've got some texts from people who listen to this show.
Oh, you got some texts?
I told them
really?
I told them I was on Coast and got a few texts in saying well done for getting Russell on, that was good of him and everything.
Right, good of him and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for your listless praise.
I think
now,
Russell wants you to say that he was brilliant. On
You were. Thanks for doing it, Russell.
There we go.
Thank you. So Matthew has learned the language. If I ask a question like that, you need to charge the
Actually,
factory
they said you're the
battery.
best guest Coast's ever had, and you were
Really?
hilarious, and one of them died laughing.
I wasn't even really trying. That's the interesting thing when I was on that radio show. Now, he did say that DJ, Tom Lake, or whatever he was called, he said that Alan Lake, okay, all right, you're very loyal to Alan Lake all of a sudden,
Alan Lake?
Mr. Nibs.
Alan Lake of
he gave me an
75.
opportunity. I hope that you're not now dressed as Alan Lake, wearing Alan Lake underpants.
He's actually
Mr.
wearing
Nibs.
Alan Lake's skin. And he's, it stinks.
I managed to make myself an all-in-one Alan Lake leotard. Listen, he said that you, Mr. Nibs, have been using your notoriety gleaned from our radio show to flirt with and often trouble women. Is that true?
No.
What was that noise, Mr. Nibs? That sounded like you were in the throes of passion. What is he doing, Matthew? You're in the room with him. What is he doing?
It looks like he's learning to cope with priapism over there. But it looks like he's also teasing it to keep it going.
That is not a proper condition. If you encourage it, it's not priapism, and you're making light of a very serious condition. That poor salesman Richard, I've cast that story aside now. It served its purpose. Now listen, don't be childish. I've got another email here. This is from Dr. Nick. Now, you remember last week I told the story about how when I was in a treatment centre, you know, there was that incident with a cuddly toy playing an amusing theme tune at an inappropriate moment.
Yes.
Right, you remember that? It was a great story. We all enjoyed it. Well, it's elicited this email from a medical doctor. Your story about the inappropriate activation of the silver dunce-capped polar bear at the rehab meeting made me almost crash my car, says Dr. Nick, which is a bit irresponsible. He had to pull over to recover. It reminded me of a similar event that happened to me, which is similarly funny in a tragic, mustn't-laugh way. We were both junior doctors working up north, and we got called to a cardiac arrest in the hospital when someone is found near dead or beyond, and we get an emergency call to try and salvage them. And then he puts in in inverted commas, stand back, I'm going to shock him, clear, etc. It's that sort of situation, right? So we and the rest of the team all collected around this poor old lady's bedside and started trying to resuscitate her. But as you can imagine, in a modern National Health Service hospital, there's not much room around the bed in such a heightened adrenaline charged situation. People are prone to barging around and knocking seemingly unimportant things out of the way in the process. In all the frantic furore, someone knocked over the items on the cabinet next to her bed, which included one of those awful anthropomorphic Christmas trees inexplicably adorned with sunglasses that get sold on trestle tables on the high street outside Argos from October onwards. Yeah, there used to be Coke can ones from the dancing Coke cans that respond to noises, and I do remember there were Christmas tree ones as well. Well, this woman had a Christmas tree one by her bed. It goes, this thing switched on during the fall. It was knocked over on the table, and the doctors and nurses were all left trying to revive the dying patient to the tinny sounds of rocking around the Christmas tree, interjected by the beeps of a heart monitor. That's a terrible situation.
What, well, the thing was dancing to the beat of her death?
It was dancing to the beat of death.
Oh, God.
It was defying death.
What if she had one of those out-of-body experiences and goes, oh, I saw myself from above. There was a Christmas tree dancing.
People will go, she's gone mad.
Are
There's
you
no
God?
point.
Are you God?
Are you outdated? Must we worship you, oh Christmas tree? Yeah, I think she'd probably seize the afterlife in that situation. And then he goes, I hope that doesn't come across as callous. It does, actually, Dr. Nick. It's not, I promise. And I should point out that we hospital workers have the utmost love and respect for, and then he puts in brackets, most of our patients. But sometimes, most of our patients, some of them, we wait till they're unconscious and we interfere with their genitalia. It doesn't say that in the email. That's just me, a comment on the side. Most of it, we have respect for our patients, but sometimes our job is so gruesome and life so unnecessarily cruel. It takes you to the cusp of humanity's abyss, and the more horror you see, the more you realise that it's necessary to see the humour just to pull you through it with the least possible damage.
I think he's going to crash his car again.
Blimey there! You've given me priapism
Russell,
with
do you
your
remember
intellectual musings.
When we had that, we were a bit unhinged and we weren't really connected with society, and we didn't know about those adverts. Went, calm down, dear. With
Michael Winner's adverts where he went, calm down, dear, calm down, dear. Yeah, we'd come disconnected from society.
We were working in an office, and there was a thing that, I don't know what it had been, but someone had pulled out the sound bit of the, cuddly toy, and we just found this little metal thing that if you shook
like a little sphere, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if you shook it, it said, "Calm down, dear." And we just thought that was what it was. A little ball that said, "Calm down, dear."
Yeah, but it previously had been ensconced in another object. It was like a promotional object for an insurance company, I believe. But we just found it in its raw form of just this object. And because we'd become a bit detached from society, sort of worshipped it a little bit, didn't we?
We
Took
got
it
very
everywhere with
attached
us.
to it.
Made that calm down, dear, and we didn't know it was to do with an advertising campaign funded by Michael Winner.
We used to use
just
it
thought
to calm us
an independent object. Oh God! Look how there's people watching us. Calm down, dear. Calm down, dear.
Just listen to him. Do what he tells us.
He's always right. It's funny how he always says the right thing in any situation.
Calm down, dear.
I'm having lots of difficulty at home. What ought I to do? Why don't we consult the orb? Calm down, dear.
I reckon you might be able
Calm
to.
down, dear.
You might be able to cure priapism with it. I reckon you just roll it along your willy, and it's just calm down, dear. Go down, dear.
Yeah, perhaps if you did say "go" over the bit where Michael Winner's actually saying "calm," that possibly could help you. If you've ever worshipped an unlikely god, email us at russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Have you ever become enchanted with paganism, or perhaps even Buddha, or one of them? Or did you ever worship a dancing Christmas tree? I'd like to point out that Buddha and paganism are actual valid religions. Dear guys, says Zach John, aloha. So a lot of people send me this aloha stuff because I'm in Hawaii. Thank you, you're incorporating me into your culture. I want to be the youngest person in your cult. Can I be? Yeah, you can. That's from Zach John, 12 years old. When is your film coming out? I think it's next year, Zach John. And you can be in our cult. At the moment, the cult is in its formative stages and we're not really worked out what the conditions are. But, you know, probably there would have to be an age restriction. You could probably come to some junior meetings of the cult or something. Matt, have you got any problems with that lad being in our cult?
No, I think we'll always need someone to do, you know, deliveries and stuff.
Of course, yeah, of
Now
course.
that Mr. Nibs has come out as a madman.
Now that Mr. Nibs has revealed himself as a dangerous threat to us all, yes, we should probably start recruiting. Okay, should we listen to Dolly Parton then?
You've
Why
had your
not?
choices. I know, I do like that song, but I'd like
Let's
something
listen to
else
it
up.
then. What have you lined up?
Patti Smith.
Alright then, put that on. But then let's listen to Dolly Parton afterwards.
Okay.
Alright then, 88 and 91 FM, Russell Brand Radio 2. This is going to be Patti Smith. Don't try and undermine what I just done. That was professional. Let's listen to Patti Smith. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. That was Patti Smith. What track was that then, Matthew?
Ask the Angels.
Just ask them, you know, what can they say? People can only say no in life, you know, that's just one of the things I've learned. So, okay, you coping alright without me, mate, there in England?
Yeah.
Well, you sound a little bit destitute and broken. Don't try and have a note of sarcasm somewhere in your voice. Other things that I've noticed that seem a bit unusual in England is, like there is a sort of genuine Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle situation emerging where terrapins are being released into Hampstead Heath and now eating ducklings and stuff.
What?
Are you aware of that? Well,
Yes,
this is what I'm
it's
hearing.
all over the news here. We're, I mean, I was bitten by one on the way in.
Oh my
It's a
God.
very real hell. No,
They're going into the metropolises.
it's like 28 days later here now with little terrapins.
Are they like Gamorrean guards from Star Wars? Have they learned to use tools?
Yes.
Don't attack the like.
No,
Well, I'll tell
no
you
one's
why.
going to know Gamorrean guards from Star Wars.
People. Don't you think that's a reference that the whole world shares? A minor character from Return of the Jedi that didn't have lines.
He had a
You'll
nappy
be
on. He had a
surprised.
brown furry nappy on.
He did have a brown furry nappy on, and I think there was an army of them. I think there were more than one of them.
They
I
were
think that
Jabba's
they're a
guards
sort of
at his palace. They guarded
Yeah,
that
in
big rancor beast. Probably.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
did.
know. I haven't been to a Star Wars. I went to a
Do you
Star
go to
Wars
conventions?
I did. I went to one once.
Why did you go?
I was very lonely and sad, and I went along.
Right.
No, it was all right actually. They basically you could.
Did you dress up?
I mean, it was a sort of costume. I just threw it together. I was in a full fursuit. No, I didn't dress up, but there was curiously, there was the man there who
That plays C-3PO.
No,
It's the only one they can ever get.
no.
is him.
There was the bloke who was inside Chewbacca's costume.
Oh right, he often turns up to things, does he?
Yeah, but there was a bloke
and he
there.
got like that, and he a bit giganticism, that bloke that plays Chewbacca, and
Well, in the way that he's tall.
Right, no, but and he got, like, unnaturally large hands, and, like, his face looks like he's being reflected in a spoon.
He's not the best looking bloke, but he's not, I didn't notice sort of him having a big rubber hand or anything.
And he got sort of his mouth, look, he's like he's chewing his way through.
You don't know anything about him!
Alright, did you talk to him? I bet you didn't even have the nerve
because
to
you
talk
had
to
to
Chewbacca
queue
Man.
up for hours to talk to him. But there was a bloke there who, like in the film, Darth Vader goes, he does that thing where the bloke has to grab his throat and goes, and he's being strangled,
Yeah.
That bloke talked and he goes, I'm the bloke who got grabbed round the throat. Like that. He actually, it's not very funny, but he got throat cancer. But it made,
oh my God!
It made me think that maybe, you know,
the
Vader's
dark side of the Force
was real.
Don't dabble with the dark side of the Force. Well, I wouldn't have had him at the convention. If I was organising that convention, we'd go, I'll tell you who we can get is the bloke that Lord Vader done the Force on and strangled him remotely at a distance. I go, oh, brilliant, yeah, that's a great booking. What's he like? Oh, yeah, no, he's fine. He does have a bit of throat cancer, and he can't talk properly. Yeah, no, that's not going to lower the mood
yeah,
of
but he
the
needs
whole
to earn a
convention
living.
and put a downer on it.
They make a lot of money, anyone who's anything to do with Star Wars, out of that. People were queuing up to get their autograph.
Just to go near Chewbacca and the fella that has had his throat mangled up by Darth Vader.
It was good, actually, because you could sell Star Wars figures there and all the stuff you've probably got at home still.
Yeah,
So
in my mum's attic. Every year or so, my mum would go, Russell, can I throw away your Star Wars figures yet? I go, no, you can't, woman. They're a legacy.
I found all mine because when my mum and dad moved house, every single one of them's had like when I was a little kid, I was a bit weird. I used to saw bits off them and I used to draw nosebleeds on them with a red pen, and they've all gone like it's gone pink now, so they've got like pink nosebleeds. It looks rubbish.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have done that, really, although I did have, as you know, once used the Chewbacca action figure to play the part of Teen Wolf in an unrelated game that you don't that always troubles you.
You shouldn't have done
I just think it could be... And also, alright, well, know you this, that I sometimes used Han Solo to be Raiders of the Lost Ark bloke, as well.
No, you can't
Indiana
do
Jones,
that.
yeah. It's the same bloke. I use him to be Indiana Jones. And also, Mark Hamill once did a run on Broadway in a stage version of The Elephant Man, and I used the Luke Skywalker figure to do that. I had him go, oh, my name is Luke Skywalker. You're very kind to me. I was very diverse with my Star Wars figures, and I think I should be applauded for that, not treated like some kind of common criminal. Yeah, let's muck around with our phones a little bit, see if I can trouble someone over here. I was thinking of ringing the hotel, Matthew, where I'm staying, because I am every morning troubled by this cockerel strutting around, as I mentioned earlier. I just heard now Edward Norton, the actor out of Fight Club, is also staying at the hotel. He's a few rooms down, right? He's been getting bothered by this cockerel. Apparently the other day threw a stick at it, right? So
really?
He threw a stick at it. But the first rule of cockerel hating club is we never talk about it. Come on, you have to do them. So listen, we might be able to get Edward Norton on the phone to talk about this cockerel. So think about it now. At any point we could hear from Noel Gallagher, Courtney Love, or Edward Norton.
Or none of them.
Be more possibly none of them.
Edward
Who knows?
Norton on the shore.
Yes. Okay then. So no chance, Gallagher. Okay. So let's try and. Should we trouble those people now? Yeah. Put on Jolene. I'll try and ring Courtney, and then we'll get an update of who might do this programme. So listen, carry on listening to us, Radio 2, 8891 FM, Russell Brand. Don't laugh when I do professional things,
carry on listening to us. Yeah, that's basically what you've got to do. I'm going to go and call some of my celebrity pals and listen to their answer machine messages.
And while I'm doing that, you just sit there and listen to Jolene. This is Russell Brand on Radio 2.
Even though you can, Jolene,
That was Dolly Parton, Jolene. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. Right, while that was on, we frantically called all sorts of people. Edward Norton, he's having some dinner, but when he found out that it was an opportunity to voice his concerns about that cockerel, he has agreed to come on the very next show that we do, so that's not next week, because the Eurovision Song Contest is on next week, so we're not on. Did you know that, Matthew?
Yeah.
Why is that happening? Well, why is that? Like, the Radio 2 has to be dedicated to the Eurovision Song Contest. It's become a national joke anyway. Yes. How come that we have been shunted aside?
It's not a royal wedding, is it?
It's not a royal wedding or a royal funeral. It's like, it's ridiculous. What's happening in there? Like, again, that's another example of the country's gone mad since I've left. So anyway, Edward Norton will be like, next week, you got the Eurovision Song Contest. That's going to be fantastic. You've got that. That's a given. The week after that, Edward Norton and Courtney Love, we're going to talk to her at the end of the show, right? It'll be difficult though, because it's very, like, she's in Los Angeles, I'm in Hawaii, Matt's in London, and, like, you know, Courtney Love's she's been on the show before. I'm just saying that once she starts talking, it might be difficult to manage, so I hope you're all going to be helpful managing the conversation with Courtney. Also, I didn't ring Noel Gallagher because I still feel a little bit guilty about him saying I love you, me saying I would ring him, then not ringing him for a further week and only...
Imagine what he feels. All he knows is, for the first time probably in his life, he said he loves you. He loves someone who's a man, right? And then he hasn't heard from that person.
This is the wrong message to send Noel Gallagher, isn't it? He's a sensitive man. What have I done?
He's probably thinking, oh no, why did I say that?
Oh no, I've come across like a right puffed up. Oh no, oh no. Alright, what we'll do, like, listen, I'll send Noel, right, in the next track, I'm gonna send Noel a text message, right, and I'll be outrageously gay in it.
Yeah, send him a message going, Noel, I've been thinking about what you said, I'm just not ready for that.
I'm not ready for that commitment at this time. I see us as friends. What I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to take a photograph of me in knickers and a bra and just send it to him with me doing the thumbs up, saying, you give me priapism, baby, live forever.
Look it up, Google it.
Yeah, Google it, you mank. Okay, so, right, listen, what are you going to play now? A sort of a T-key version of Blitzkrieg Bop?
Yeah, it's Yola Tango. It should make you feel all Hawaiian, even though you're there.
Sort of a Hawaiian version of the Ramones, that'd be nice. I don't need to feel... But look, looking out this window into Hawaii, it's like a bleak industrial hell, patrolled by crystal meth addicts, bounty hunters, there's junkies everywhere. Except the beach bit is lovely.
Matt, why aren't you coming to Hawaii?
Come on away! Oh, it's lovely there. There's great big tortoises live on the beach. You'll enjoy it. Come on, then let's listen to this version of Blitzkrieg Bop, and then I'll try and blackmail you into coming to this country. Russell Brand, Radio 2. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio 2. That's Blitzkrieg Bop by who, Matthew?
Yola Tango.
Yola Tango. Why are you all giggling and chortling and stuff?
You know, joyous bunch over here in
You're
London.
not joyous. You're a miserable, miserly, curmudgeonly, malingering type of man.
You Hawaiian lot with your bongs.
Listen, Mr. G, the poet laureate of the show, is going to summarise all of today's events with a poem. Are you ready to do that, Mr. G?
Yes, I'm ready.
Right, come on then, you sex maniac, and don't let me down. Don't say everything 3 seconds after you're meant to.
Okay then, I'll be right on time.
Go on.
This poem is called No More Heroes Anymore. As Spider-Man swings through the city at night, if we were true superheroes, think what we'd be like. I reckon I'd favor Batman, the incognito attack man, moving under the cover of darkness, pursuing females dressed like cats. Damn. Matt plans on taking risks with flying jackets like Daredevil, enduring sniffles, facing whistles as he listens to heavy metal. The world is threatened by demonic crockerills, boob job yobs and Dog the Bounty Hunter, narcissistic dick and villainous tricks of the evil shopmaster. To combat such disaster, who could Russell be with all these GIs on the scene? An ex-man like Dame Edna or an ex-man like Wolverine? How about Obi-Wan Kenobi, Teen Wolf or even Boba Fett? More like hanging out with Spotty because he's got to be Super Ted.
Mr. G, what a fantastic poem! That was beautifully constructed, well done. Okay, that is the end of the show for another fantastic week. Obviously next week you've got the Eurovision Song Contest to keep you occupied. Who's the English person? It's called Snoopy or Schultz or something. Scooch. Do vote for
Snoopy.
I don't pay attention to that. It's not even Europe, is it? There's all sorts of countries. I mean, I don't want to get on the Daily Mail sort of
he's
soapbox.
changed, hasn't he?
I think that it's a disgrace that the Eurovision Song Contest has become polluted. No, I'm against the whole Eurovision thing, to tell you the truth. So anyway, we ain't even on the radio next week, but the week after that we'll have Edward Norton on. And also, I don't know what we'll do next week. I better sort out the situation with Noel Gallagher. Meanwhile, I'm going to send him that photograph of me in underwear. Keep your lovely emails coming and your glorious gifts. Someone sent me The Apprentice and Harry Hill's TV burp. Thank you very much for everything you've said so far. Keep listening. Bye. Love you. Bye. Bye.
News at 11 o'clock. This is Andrea Simmons.